One of the many challenges facing martial arts school owners and club managers is inventory management as it relates to the financial outlay involved with maintaining any sort of meaningful or reasonable inventory for your clients and for your students. Hi folks, it's Paul from Martial Business Matters, and today we're going to discuss the #1 way to save money on inventory in your martial arts school. Stay tuned. All right, you already saw it in the intro. Buy in bulk. Buy in bulk. This is by far the #1 way to save money on inventory for your martial arts school. But how do you do it? And where do you do it? And what are the realistic limits for how much of it you should be doing so as you don't go bankrupt buying uniforms and sticking them in the back room? Well, today we're going to discuss all of those things in brief and lean in to buying in bulk. Now, if you're a follower, you already know where I do most of my martial arts supply. And of course, that is Century Martial Arts, the #1 martial arts supplier in the world, and for all the right reasons. I'll link that video up here so that you can go watch that and figure out why I use Century Martial Arts for the vast majority of my martial arts supply. But suffice to say, customer service, there's more to it. Customer service. Going into that, I am a Century Martial Arts wholesale distributor. That means that I receive a discount from Century Martial Arts on any merchandise or equipment that I buy. This is critical. If you are not a wholesale distributor, you are not just leaving money on the table, but losing money on every retail transaction that you make. It is pretty easy to become a wholesale distributor. You typically need to have a business license. That is, you need to have an LLC or an S Corp. You need to have some sort of foundational documents that identify your school or your club as a business in order for most of these major suppliers to give you a wholesale distributor account. That's pretty easy to do. If you haven't done that, we'll probably do a video all about how to do that. But that is basically step one. You have to have some sort of formative documents that identify you, your school, your club as a martial arts business in order for most of these major martial arts manufacturers to do business with you as a wholesale distributor. So in the case of Century Martial Arts, you simply provide them with your foundational documents. You say, here's my business, it's an LLC, here's its establishment, here's where we're located, and they'll issue you an account. Same with Bold Look, Proforce, Tiger Claw, KI International, any of these big house manufacturers, they're going to need that in order to move forward with getting you a wholesale distributor discount. Now, depending on the manufacturer, they're going to either offer you some sort of blanket discount, anywhere between 5 and 15%, or they're going to offer you a variable discount based on the type of merchandise that you're purchasing in any given go. So for example, with Century, I have a 15% blanket discount on everything that I purchase through Century as a wholesale distributor. And there are some exceptions to that. So I get my 15%, but there are certain exceptions. Certain weapons categories or bag categories aren't covered under that. But by and large, that's my discount from Century as a wholesale distributor. And so if you think about the money there, if you're selling an item and it cost you $100 and you're selling it for $140, let's say it's just a traditional retail markup on the low end of 40%, you're selling it for $140, cost you $100. That's a reasonable margin, but if it only costs you $85 and you're able to sell it for $140, now you can start to see where the money comes in and why it's so important to have that wholesale distributor account. With whether it's Century or someone else, you have to have the wholesale distributor account in order for it to make sense, because by the time you factor in for taxes, shipping costs, et cetera, your 40% margin starts to shrink pretty drastically. So that's an important component. Get yourself your wholesale distributor account. And then #2, buying in bulk. I'll use, for example, screen printing. So Century Martial Arts does my screen printing for my uniforms, right? And I think I already showed that to you once before in a different video, probably in that same video I mentioned before, but that's a screen printing on the uniform. And there's a minimum on screen printing. If I order a single jacket from Century Martial Arts, it's a massive expense for me because the minimum on screen printing is 6 units. So in order for me to have that screen printing cost be negligible, I have to order at least 6 t-shirts or uniform jackets or whatever to be screen printed all at the same time in order to meet the 6 unit minimum for screen printing. Because the screen printing charge is anywhere between $3 and $5 a unit, depending on how many colors are involved and which screen is being used and the size of the screen and how much paint, so on and so forth. If I'm only ordering one jacket, that $3 to $5 charge is being charged 6 times, even if I'm only getting one jacket. So there's example number 1 of buying in bulk. If I'm going to buy jackets from Century Martial Arts, I'm always buying at least 6 jackets at a go, because that's how I get to distribute that screen printing cost amongst all 6 jackets. So buying in bulk benefits me there. Another example would be any type of oversized purchases, like weapons, for example, staffs, swords, spears, whatever it is that you do in your school. If you do weapons of any kind and they're an oversized item, typically, if you order a single staff from Century, they'll throw it in a box and it will ship to you, and it'll be an oversized shipping charge. But if you order 3 or 4 staffs, they will stuff all 3 or 4 of those staffs into that same box and ship it to you, and you only have to pay that oversized shipping charge once for your 3 or 4 staffs. They can fit 3 to 4 staffs in a single box. I don't have one with me to show you, but that's about the way it works. So again, buying in bulk doesn't necessarily mean buying 1,000 uniforms. It doesn't necessarily mean buying 1,000 staffs. It means figuring out, being mindful and figuring out what the shipping situation is with your distributor, or your manufacturer, what the minimums are with your distributor or your manufacturer, and learning how to play that game so as to maximize the potential savings out of any one order from your manufacturer. So oversized items, try and cram as many of them into a single box as possible. Minimum order items, always, always, always order the minimum if there's an upcharge or a surcharge for some sort of feature of that item, for example, the uniforms. If you're not playing the game at least on that level with a wholesale distributor account, you are losing tons and tons and tons of money. Now, I'm super excited. Once a year, Century Martial Arts does a feature promotion called Black Belt Friday, and it's free shipping. Free shipping on literally everything from Century Martial Arts. So every year, my school participates in Black Belt Friday, and we order thousands and thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, equipment, uniforms, bags, weapons, targets, you name it. If it's sold in our pro shop, and oftentimes even stuff that isn't sold in our pro shop, we will order a bunch of it to capitalize on the free shipping. And I just loaded up my cart just a little bit ago. It doesn't actually go live. Free shipping doesn't actually go live until tomorrow, but I've been populating my cart on centurymartialarts.com for the past couple of days, and I'm up to several hundred items, and the price tag is in the thousands, but I've calculated out my savings on the shipping, and I'm already up to about $1,900 saved in shipping alone. $1,900 saved in shipping alone. $1,900 saved in shipping alone. That's as much as some of you watching this video's rent, I'm sure. Almost $2,000 in a single go saved. And where normally the suggested retail price of an item factors for shipping, it accommodates shipping. That traditional 40 to 150% markup accommodates shipping in that calculation. When you order in bulk on Black Belt Friday, you get to collect and hold all of that overage that would normally go against the shipping of those items. So that's basically another way of thinking about that. Another way of thinking about that is that I am making, not saving, I'm going to make that money when I eventually sell these items, because it's an expense that is deleted from the initial equation, but I still get to charge the same price that I was before. So I'm actually not just saving the money, I'm making the money. So that is something you want to be aware of with your manufacturers as well. Find out, get on the phone and talk to your rep and say, hey, are there any shipping breaks? If I order 100 of these, is there any way that you can throw in free shipping? Anytime that you can get any kind of break from the manufacturer who you have a wholesale distributor relationship with, you got to capitalize on it, because anytime you don't, again, you're losing money. And there it is. That's as simple as it is. The number one way to save on the outlay, to retain more in terms of the financials on the retail component of your martial arts school or your martial arts club, is to buy in bulk. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean buying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of stuff at one time. It means paying attention to the systems that are in place with your manufacturer, paying attention to minimums and always capitalizing on the minimums, paying attention to shipping especially, and always capitalizing on ways to order enough of a product at the right ship break that you're getting the most bang for your buck. There it is, buy in bulk, save money on retail so that you can make money on retail on the front end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the little bell so that you don't miss future updates. And remember, you watch Martial Business Matters because martial business matters. Take care.